our featured speaker today has spoken for presidents, for the UN, and returned early from DC just to speak here at Sala.
Selah.
Yes. All right. His work, yeah, clap for that. His work focuses on helping those who are differently able to find jobs, volunteer opportunities, and community in the world.
Yeah, let's give a warm welcome to Ability Magazine's Chet Cooper.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Amy. So I'm going to do a rap today. I wish I could do that. So as was just mentioned, I just got back from D.C. Speaking on a panel with Senator Harkin. How many people know Senator Harkin? So Senator Harkin, best known for authoring the ADA, the Abilities Magazine, ADA, Affirmative Disability Action. I've just lost it, folks. So thank you, good night, and try the veal. What happened to my mind? So a little bit of flying back and forth, red eye, etc. So bear with me, I'm sorry about this. But also on the panel was a person named Vince Cerf. How many people know Vince Cerf? I cannot see the audience, so I'm going to think that there's only at least two people. Vince Cerf is considered the father of the internet. Anybody think somebody else might have been the father of the internet? Yeah. So here's his response to that. This is Vince Cerf's response to it. This is being taped, so I'm not sure if I should say this, but this is what Vince said to me. Anyone that says that to me says that just idiots would say that, and you're an idiot. I'll give you a quick background of why Al Gore can say something about the internet. So the internet came from ARPANET, which is government, and it was restricted just to government. From there, the internet was being developed on a plateau over the ARPANET, and Vince Cerf was part of that. It was not allowed to be private. There was no public business. There was nothing allowed other than just government. And so it was Al Gore that brought it up in the Senate to make it what it is today and push legislation to make it opened for the public use. So he was instrumental in opening up the internet for us. And as we know, it's changed the world. So Vince Cerf is now, when I first met him, he was with MCI. Now he's with Google. Anybody heard of Google? I know a couple of people have. So we were speaking about the idea of economic growth in the country relating to the employment of people with disabilities. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So the clicker doesn't work, so I'm going to be saying "and" a lot. Every time I say "and," we're going to change the slide. And magic. It's a witch had this thing about the clicker. We are going to talk a little bit about unconscious bias and what we've been doing with trying to disrupt that. Now I'm going to know this because this audience is an incredible audience, but this is a typical slide that comes through. So how many people, when asked to show hands, never show their hands? Okay. Thank you. So next, how many people think they have unconscious bias? Now, I do see a lot of palms go up. And that's true. We all have it to some degree. And so this is an image of some, anyone know, or I think some people know. Do you know Pat Boone? Yeah. So Pat Boone was as popular as Elvis Presley back in the day, actually more popular. And I spoke with him about a problem that he was having or had with, he was on a Christian station. He decided to go and repurpose his, re-promote his music, and he put tattoos on. He's on a Harley, if you could see that image in the book. And the church said, you've gone to the dark side and you no longer can produce your television show here. changed his view about people having this idea of judging a book by its cover. Those tattoos were just ironed on. No, they were and it made him also think about his own life, how he was looking at people, including his own daughter, and how he treated her because of what he perceived, and not really talking to her and understanding what she was really about. So I want to talk a little bit about the cover. If you look at the cover, it's a pretty interesting cover. So it says, "Don't judge a book by its cover," and then you see him in it, and if you see it any further, he's reading a book about him in it. It just keeps going layer by layer. And I took the picture, and the book was blank. And I had this artist that, anybody know a name Christian Olsen? He's one of the most best artists I know. Christian's in the audience right here. So back in the day, Christian was working with the magazine, and he produced that cover, which everyone loved. And Pat Boone just asked for multiple copies of the thing. He just loved it. So, we get the unconscious bias definition. We're going to move quickly on this. So we're going to say and. So those show of hands kind of fit with the model of the numbers that we're seeing. And. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this concept of disability and this disconnect. On a regular basis, every day, we are seeing or hearing this word disabled, meaning doesn't work. So we're going to show a few slides here that basically are putting into our subconscious the meaning that it's not functional, and yet for many, many years that I don't want to mention, we've been working to get people with disabilities employed in different ways. And so we have Microsoft, again, disable, and NPR, using the language disabled, and so W3 is the organization that helps monitor the web to make the web accessible for web design, basically setting up systems that everyone should be doing when you're a web developer that allows HTML or HTML5 to be readable by screen readers like JAWS for people that are blind, that people in different ways that access the web make it accessible for all this information content that exists out there. Even they use the word disable within their website. Again, they're just not thinking about the language because their programmers are different typically than the people in the front office, if you will. And just more disabled, YouTube, etc. And so this is an interesting one. This is an organization called National Disability Institute, and they launch a campaign called Disable Poverty. So they're using the word disable as it's in their name, and then they're throwing the word, flipping the definition of it. So it's a frustrating thing. So what I'm trying to say with these things is, with this unconscious bias, it's actually kind of, I think for me, it's an awakening when you realize, wow, okay, maybe there was a disconnect in my thoughts about this concept of disability. And so as I was flying out to DC just now, and back here, this is on American Airlines. They have the video that runs before the plane takes off. Do not tamper this or disable the smoke detector. Again, meaning turn it off doesn't work on non-functional. And so we have a campaign that a lot of people have been signing that are journalists, media, engineers, I guess we'll say, that are working on web designing such that can use different language. You could use turn off, disconnect, stop, disengage, shut down, distract. There's so many different words you could use rather than using the word disable and pushing that agenda with negative terms. And so sticks and stones. There's also some language issues that are connected to that. For example, you shouldn't say, let's say, they're wheelchair bound. They're not bound to that wheelchair. That's just a form of mobility, so they're a wheelchair user. And I won't go into all the details, but I am going to question you all on this. So, well, I won't go into those details, but there's certain guidelines that are set up for language. So you can always go to abilitymagazine.com and look at terminology. And so there's this other thing. I was in Abu Dhabi recently. The NYU asked me to come out and talk to the media, actually sponsored by the U.S. Embassy as well. And that country, UAE, actually has taken on an incredible initiative around disabilities. They actually don't even use the word disability anymore. Their government initiative is people of determination. They understood that disability was a negative term, and they've moved to something completely different now. And here, there's still this area of inspiration, aspiration when a story is told, and inspirational porn. How many people have heard of inspirational porn? No? How about just porn? Okay. I see hands are raised. Wait, back. So I said porn, he got excited. It's the third slide. Yeah, so it's basically saying just because somebody has a disability, you can't build a story and say, oh my gosh, they were able to be a computer programmer and they're blind. So it's putting the fact that a person with a disability probably couldn't have done that in this inspirational concept. So what I would suggest is take any other minority and put that in place of that person with a disability. Would you have said that and felt comfortable about that? And typically you wouldn't. And so we've been working on disability issues for some time, and I hope everyone knows that the ADA has been around since 1990. President Bush signed it. That has a lot of story for me behind that and the people next to him, but I won't go into that. And so what's happening is 1 out of 5 people have a disability. So if you're looking at your 2 people next to you on the left, 2 people next to you on the right, out of those 5 people, 1 of you have a disability if the numbers are right. And most disabilities are hidden. You don't see ADHD, you don't see mental health, you don't see cancer, you don't see a lot of things. Most disabilities, the obvious ones, somebody with a mobility issue, you can see that. But so there's the ADA is there to protect people that are being discriminated on the employment side. And we created the first job system on the web in 1995. We partnered with the first, Mosaic was the first interface on the web. Before Mosaic, it was just HTML, just words. Mosaic came along, made it an interface that we now know is what we see as the web. We partnered with Career Mosaic, the first employment site, and we created the first employment site for people with disabilities back then in 95. So we've helped hundreds of thousands of people find jobs connecting with companies. And just recently, everyone's familiar, I think, with career fairs where you go. I know somebody's looking for a job. 2 people are looking for jobs, I think, here. You go to a career fair. It's typically brick and mortar. You talk to a recruiter, et cetera. Those are moving now to online. And what we've done, because those online career fairs are not accessible, they exist, but if you're deaf, for example, they make you do a chat. And if you're deaf, your first language is sign language. Second language would be writing in English. So the EEOC has been suing a lot of companies that don't allow a person that's deaf to come in with a sign language interpreter. So they're losing the battles, and they need to have a reasonable accommodation. So what we did is we built a system that's face-to-face video, recruiter, job seeker. That job seeker happens to be deaf. Another button, video comes up, sign language interpreter. So we're continually moving the needle to make sure things that we're doing, companies that want to find talented people with disabilities can access those candidates. Next. And
Hi, I'm Mike Childers here at the National Industry Liaison Group Conference for Government Contractors. I'm an attorney with Seyfarth Shaw, and I'm here to kind of highlight some of the great work that AbilityJobs.com and the Ability Jobs Career Fair is doing to break down the barriers that exist between job seekers who have disabilities and employers who are trying to connect with candidates and fill openings within their organization. So the AbilityJobs.com platform creates a very easy user interface, both to kind of list your jobs and connect with qualified applicants with disabilities, and then also their job fair page allows individuals to connect with job seekers who have disabilities and kind of overcome accessibility barriers by connecting, say, individuals who are deaf with an interpreter and allowing for the career fair to proceed in a way that prior to this would have been unheard of. Thanks, I'm signing off.
So, kind of for quality, there's a disconnect here, but so we were at a career fair for government contractors that are a little bit higher standard of trying to, their affirmative action to try to find qualified people with disabilities. And I actually shot that in technology. I put the phone the wrong way, should have gone this way. But he was a young attorney that just got it right away, and I said, "Can you repeat that?" And he said, "Sure." And his law is all about employment issues and diversity in Section 503. So the Ability Job Fair, we have this platform. We allow also job seekers to give a 3-minute video for any recruiter they might have missed. And then so we also have a nonprofit. Our nonprofit does several different things. And one that I thought would be interesting to show is our partnership with Habitat for Humanity. We build homes for families with disabilities, but we access volunteers with disabilities to build the homes. So here's a quick little piece on that.
There's been a big push nationally to create some resources to help organizations that use volunteers understand and be able to have some tools to be inclusive, to let everybody be able to come and volunteer and use whatever talents he or she has.
What people in need should understand is that if there's assistance, it's about helping, not about the person. It's about the process. It's about the hope that things will get better or easier for those in need, despite whatever they are, that are the people who are helping out. Just as you have disabled individuals building houses for disabled individuals, how much better can that be? It's important about giving and taking both ways, not about the person, the disability.
So did everyone recognize Marley Matlin? Yeah. So she was actually our first cover. Our magazine is somewhat celebrity-driven. We take celebrities so people pick up the magazine. They don't realize that they're going to be reading a bunch of things that they might have missed in normal mainstream media. So that's it, folks. So come on down and... I don't know, are we doing Q&A or no? 1 minute for Q&A. Fast, you. No. Anyway, I can't see it. The lights are such that I really can't see it.
We see a question up here.
Okay, just feedback. I'm a special education teacher, so I
Thank
really appreciate hearing any and all of what you had to say today. So, and I will be conscious, much more conscious.
The answer is yes.
Any other questions? I saw another hand somewhere. Okay.
Thank you very much.
So much.